everyone, Mrs. Gerdts here. In my last video, I said if you had any book requests, let me know because I have a bunch of books in my car and in my basement. And Jasmine requested some books about fruit trees. So I found a couple books about apple trees and apple orchards, and then I found a book about a different kind of tree that I'm going to read today. So the first book is titled Apples. This book has a table of contents. The table of contents tells us what's in the book and where to find it. Apple trees. Apples tell us fall is here. Apple trees grow in orchards. So an orchard is like an apple farm. It's where a bunch of apple trees grow. Sometimes you can go visit the orchard in the fall. Flowers on the trees are called blossoms. Blossoms fall off. Then apples grow. So right now it's the beginning of spring. So you might start to see some blossoms or some little buds on the trees around your house or in your neighborhood. Picking apples. Pick the ripe apples. A basketful is called a bushel. So this is a bushel of apples. Grab one to eat. Take a great big bite. The apple's center is the core. How many seeds do you see in the core? I found 6 seeds inside my apple. Cut up green apples. Bake them into pies. Time for a sweet fall treat. Yum, they're having apple pie. It looks like with some whipped cream on top. The next book I have is titled Visit an Apple Orchard. Let's visit an apple orchard. Remember, an orchard is where there's a bunch of apple trees and it's like a farm for apples. See the rows of trees. Apples grow on apple trees. Apples are ready to pick in fall. They are red or yellow or green. Or sometimes they're a mixture of all of those colors on one apple. You can pick your own. Here's a good one. Have you ever picked an apple? I think the only time I've ever picked apples was out of my grandma's yard. She used to have a bunch of apple trees on the side of her yard. They weren't apples that were very good for eating, but they were fun to pick. Pull it from the tree. Some people use a pole. It says, how does the pole help? I would think the pole would help because it's long, so you could reach apples that you wouldn't be able to reach from the ground or even from a ladder. Ladders help. Grown-ups help too. It says, what color are the apples? Good. What a great fall day. What is in the basket? The end. The last book that I found is titled A Tree Grows Up. And I don't think it's about fruit trees, but it's about trees. Look, that squirrel eating? It's an acorn. Squirrels love to munch on crunchy acorns. Acorns drop from oak trees in the fall. Squirrels eat many of them, but they don't eat them all. The squirrels missed this acorn. One by one, falling leaves cover it. The wind blows soil over it, or it blows dirt over it. In winter, snowflakes blanket the acorn in white. Sprout. When spring comes, the shell of the acorn splits open. A tiny root peeks out and pokes down into the soil. Soon, a little green stem with little leaves pushes up and reaches towards the sun. It's a baby oak tree. You might see baby oak trees during this time of year, during spring. This is usually when they start popping out of the ground. Day by day, the baby tree grows. Its stem, called a trunk, becomes harder. By the end of the summer, it's as tall as a pencil. Year by year, the young tree grows. When it's 5 years old, it's tall enough for people to stand under. Songbirds perch on its slim branches. Chirp, chirp. I'm not sure what kind of bird this is, but this bird is a cardinal, and the cardinal is our state bird. Just like you, a tree needs food to live and grow, but a tree can make its own food. Sunshine helps the leaves turn air and water into a sugary food. This food flows through the veins in the leaves to every part of the tree. So that's something that makes plants and trees so special, is that they can make their own food from water and sunlight and the nutrients that they take out of the dirt from their roots. Every fall, when the weather turns chilly, the tree's leaves stop making food. They change from green to red to brown. Then they dry up and fall off. Brrr! In winter, the tree looks dead, but it's not. It's just resting. It rests all winter long. So while it was snowy and cold, most of the trees didn't have any leaves on them, and they looked kind of dead and like they weren't doing anything, but they were just resting. And we can see that now in spring, because if you look at the trees, some of them have little tiny baby leaves on them, some of them have buds on them, some of them are beginning to have those blossoms or those flowers. So spring is the time when the trees and the plants really come back to life, and we can really see what they're doing. Spring brings rain and warm sunshine. The oak tree wakes up. New leaves spread wide to catch the sunlight. The tree keeps growing taller and taller. Its trunk and branches grow thicker and thicker. Squirrels scurry up and down the trunk. A family of birds nests on a branch. So since it's spring, you might start to see some nests forming in the trees outside, or maybe your gutters outside. And pretty soon you'll see eggs, and then you'll see baby birds. Bloom. One spring, when the oak tree is about 30 years old, surprise, small flowers grow next to the new leaves. After a few weeks, the flowers fall off. Little knobs form where the flowers used to be. They are baby acorns. Over the summer, they get bigger and bigger. So during the summer, the acorns are green, but watch to see what color they turn in the fall. In the fall, the acorns drop from the tree. Many animals come to feed on the fallen acorns. Chipmunks, wild turkeys, bears, blue jays, deer, and squirrels, of course. So before, the acorns were green, but But then in the fall, they turn brown. So big! The oak tree is now a grown-up tree. It will keep making acorns for the rest of its long life. It will keep growing taller. Its trunk and branches will grow thicker and thicker. One day, a branch will be strong enough for a swing. Whee! Up, out, and down. A tree gets bigger in 3 ways. It grows up, it grows out, and it grows down. Growing up. Every year, new shoots push out the buds at the tips of the branches and twigs. This causes the twigs to grow longer and the tree to grow taller. So every year, the tree grows just a little bit taller. Growing out. Every year, a new layer of wood forms underneath the bark of the trunk and branches. This makes the trunk and branches get thicker. Growing down. Most of a tree's roots are underground. Every year, the roots spread wider and deeper. That's how the tree grows down. Home, sweet tree. Birds and squirrels aren't the only animals that make their home in oak trees. Here are just a few of the many different animals that live in oaks. So, honeybee, white-footed mouse, gray tree frog, morning cloak butterfly, a skunk, and a tree cricket. And then it asks us a question. What animals have you seen in oaks or other trees near your home? Around my house, I've been seeing a lot of robins outside. They're gray on the top, and then they have the orangish red on their belly, the birds that look like that. So I've seen a lot of robins, seen some squirrels recently, and I've even seen some doves. What kind of animals have you seen on the trees at your house or in your neighborhood? Super seeds. Most trees begin their life as seeds. Seeds come in many different shapes and sizes. An acorn is a seed. It grows into an oak tree. Acorns have a smooth, hard shell and a rough, bumpy cap. So acorn trees' seeds are oak trees. Their seeds are acorns. For a maple tree, you'll see these maple seeds, or sometimes we like to call them helicopters because they're fun to play with. For the cherry tree, the seeds are inside of the cherries. For an apple tree, the seeds are inside of the apple core. And for a pine tree, the pine cone holds the seeds inside. It says, here are some other kinds of seeds. How many of them have you seen? I've seen acorns, I've seen helicopters, I've eaten cherries and seen the cherry seed. I've eaten apples and seen the apple seed, and I've seen pine cones outside. So what kind have you seen? The end. If you have any other book requests, please let me know. I have lots of books, and I will find something close to what you would like to see. See you later. Bye.